Emma, an online safety campaigner, and you're watching the Live My Digital video series. Today's topic is sexting. Websites and apps in particular allow us to share pictures, videos, and text quickly and simply. The fact that the process of sharing content privately has become relatively simple and in many cases secure has opened up opportunities for people to send sexually explicit content to each other, and that's called sexting. We've created this video to help parents understand what sexting is, why the trend has become so big, and how they can advise their children if they're either receiving or sending sexually explicit content. Research shows that over half of teachers know of pupils who've used social media for sexting, with a quarter of those teachers saying that the pupils they knew of who were involved in sexting were just 11 years old. You may have heard about revenge porn in the headlines, which is the act of sharing any sexually explicit content of somebody without their consent or permission. But when we're talking about sexting, we're not just talking about nude selfies. This is the more extreme side of sexting. It could also include slightly provocative pictures like bikini shots or cleavage shots. In these cases, nothing illegal has happened, but it may be considered to be inappropriate. So why is this happening? Well, from the conversations we're having with students, the recent rise in sexting seems to be mainly down to the following three things. Number one, increased access to technology. Whether that's happening because everyone seems to have a tablet and a smartphone these days to capture this content, or because there are so many apps and websites out there available that you can use to share content privately. Secondly, there are laws in place to deter people from sexting. But when we speak to students and they say everyone is doing it, you can see that there's little fear of consequence. And thirdly, sometimes people will pressurize each other to send this sort of content. And this is usually the case between girlfriends and boyfriends, but not always. Now that sexting is becoming normalized, many young people are sharing pictures, videos, etc. without any pressure at all. I spoke to a group of students to discuss sexting, and this is what they had to say.
If someone asks you, you might kind of feel flattered without realising.
Or like confident about themselves. I don't know, like a way of like saying that they're like confident with their body, but I think it's too far.
I don't think parents are like aware at all, but then I don't really think that that's necessarily like wrong, because I think that sometimes you want your social media to be something separate to everything else, and I think that's okay to some extent, but you probably shouldn't be having that if you're not mature enough to know what you should do if you're in a situation like that.
So what do you do if you discover sexually explicit content on your child's device? Well, if you've discovered content featuring a minor, somebody under 18, whether that's a boyfriend, girlfriend, student, or friend, you have a duty of care to inform the police or the school so that they can decide what needs to be done about it. Don't delete the content or send it to anyone. Just take the device straight to them. And what do you do if your child is found to have sent sexually explicit content? Whilst you don't want to be too judgmental and overreact to this situation, it's important that your child is aware of the legal implications of sexting. In the UK, if you're under the age of 18 and are caught sending sexually explicit content to another person, or if you're over the age of 18 and have sent content to a minor, you could face prosecution. You might want to speak to the school or the police to see how they might be able to support you in stopping the content from being shared further, as well as discussing any disciplinary action that might need to take place, particularly if it's a case of revenge porn. And also, you may want to check the parental controls that you have in place on the devices your children are using. These should help to ensure that your children aren't able to easily access pornography. By activating features like restricted mode on YouTube, for example, you could help to filter out pornographic content. And finally, if your child hasn't been sending sexually explicit content, but has been sharing slightly provocative content, it might be worth having a more general discussion with them about body confidence and self-worth. This video has been paired up with a sexting video that's been specifically developed with your children in mind. And in that version, we discuss other strategies to deal with sexting, such as taking your digital footprint into consideration. Being aware of the fact that the things that we share now can have consequences for us years down the line. I hope you found this advice useful. Remember how amazing technology is. We all have the right to enjoy using it safely and responsibly. We've got loads of other similar videos that you can click on to find out more about how to be safe and responsible online, so do check them out. And if you want to hear more about sexting, please visit our website to read our parent guides in your own time. Thank you for watching.